Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. This name is fucking weird. How does one such as myself go about describing such an interesting game? I don't know, let's read the wiki. Kingdom Hearts is the first game in the Kingdom Hearts series, developed and published by Square Enix for PlayStation 2 and directed by Tetsuya Nomura. This action RPG game began as a collaboration between Square and I'm bored. So Kingdom Hearts is a series of action RPGs developed by Square Enix. It's a crossover between Disney and Final Fantasy, so you know that it won't make any sense. Whose idea was that, by the way? Who sat down one day and said, guys, listen, Mickey Mouse, Sephiroth, put them together. But apparently it was a genius idea, because Kingdom Hearts is now a cultural phenomenon spanning nearly 2 decades with multiple spin-offs and an expansive storyline that always makes perfect sense. Today I'm going over the first one, simply titled Kingdom Hearts. And trust me when I say that needs to be said, because some of the titles of these games are— Whoa, hey, let's get that out of here. The first Kingdom Hearts actually brings about a specific childhood memory from my past. I never owned this game, but I remember renting it from Blockbuster and— wow, I'm getting old. I never got past Destiny Island, but what sticks with me is the trippy intro sequence. Despite the title of the song that accompanies it, this intro is far from simple and clean. It brings about multiple questions like, what even? And why? This isn't too important, so we can skip it and get to the main plot. The game begins on Destiny Island, where there are a bunch of kids running around doing jack shit. 3 in particular are important: Sora, Riku, and Kairi. Their goal is to one day leave the island because reasons. To accomplish this, they need to build a raft. So guess who gets to do menial tasks for the next hour? Yay, video games. During one of those tasks, main boy Sora is confronted by a creepy cloaked stranger in a dark cave who tells him his world is connected. Sora doesn't really know what that means and decides not to tell anyone else about the dude in the cave who is probably a pedophile, and instead he keeps preparing to set out on his journey with Riku and Kairi. But before they can leave, a big storm hits Destiny Island. Now this isn't your run-of-the-mill storm here. This is a darkness storm, I think. And with it, it brings monsters of darkness, the ones without hearts, the Heartless, good name. Now, darkness in Kingdom Hearts isn't just a metaphor for bad stuff, it's actually a type of power that these characters can use. However, most characters who use darkness are evil. That doesn't mean that using darkness makes you evil, but it's easy to become consumed by it, so it's dangerous. There's more to it than that, but I'm not trying to write a book here. Sora tries to fight off the Heartless with his wooden stick until he finds Riku, who's being all weird. Riku gets swallowed up in darkness, and right as Sora is about to be engulfed as well, he uses his admin privileges to spawn himself the all-powerful Keyblade, a weapon that can defeat Heartless, repair worlds, and basically just do whatever the story needs it to do. Riku disappears, so Sora goes to look for Kairi in the dark cave. He finds her, but she almost immediately disappears as soon as he reaches out to her. Huh, that's strange. Sora gets flung out of the cave and eventually is forced into the Dark Storm, where he is then transported to another world, a place called Traverse Town. Yep, even Kingdom Hearts is an isekai. Holy shit! I almost forgot there were Disney characters in this game. So, before Sora got here, Donald Dingus is seen visiting Mickey Mouse, who is the king of where the fuck this place is. But uh-oh, Mickey isn't even here, and instead he's left Pluto to be king in his place. Sorry about your luck, Minnie, but your king thinks his dog would do a better job running the kingdom than you. King Mickey informs everyone via letter that bad shit's going down and that they need to find the one who wields the key, which is Sora, and that's how they got to Traverse Town. Before they can meet up and become best friends, though, the Final Fantasy characters need to perform their special ability. Exposition dump. Oh, so that's how it is, huh? Make the anime characters tell the main character the backstory. Okay, alright. Goofy and the other one finally meet Sora by sheer coincidence. They just landed in his lap. Literally. They destroy a Heartless boss together, where Goofy convinces Sora to come with them to use his Keyblade to disconnect the various worlds from the Heartless, while they look for King Mickey and Sora looks for Riku and Kairi. Alright, so from this point, we kinda go into filler territory. All of the important stuff is going to take a pause while we go fuck around in a bunch of Disney worlds. This is probably my biggest issue with Kingdom Hearts story progression. You just kind of hit this point in the middle of the game where nothing really happens. Sora, Donald, and Goofy are just bouncing from world to world, closing keyholes until the game is nearly over. The only story progression we really get is finding out that Maleficent and her group of villains are controlling the Heartless, along with some foreshadowing here and there. But other than that, nothing. The Disney worlds themselves have very little to do with the main story. Their only real relevance is the fact that they have keyholes and Heartless in them. Their other purpose is just poorly retelling older Disney stories with Sora and the gang forced into them. I don't need to watch Aladdin and his horrible voice actor free the genie. I don't need to see Ariel betray her father and seek help from the sea witch Ursula. I've already seen these things happen, and in a far better way in their respective movies. Once the filler arc ends, Sora, Goofy, and Duck end up at Hollow Bastion, which is the secret base of the Dark Empire, or whatever they're called. Eventually they confront Riku. Oh right, Riku. Almost forgot about him. So Riku ended up at Hollow Bastion after getting separated from Sora and Kairi at the beginning of the game, and has been working with Maleficent in order to locate them. Only problem with this is Maleficent, who tries manipulating Riku into thinking Sora has abandoned them. Sora and Riku actually meet up a few times before this, where the encounter basically goes as follows. Donald, I swear to God, the next time you use one of my potions without asking me first, I'm gonna take that magic stick and shove it right up your Riku! OMG, Sora. Didn't realize you fucking hated me and Kairi now that you're friends with those douchebags. Hey, don't talk about Goofy like that. And the reason I'm with them is because they were helping me find you. Yeah, whatever, kid. Like I'd believe you, my lifelong friend that I've known since childhood. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take a nice long bath in the darkness and hang out with an evil witch dragon lady, just like a hero would do. Later, nerds. Sasuke sucks. So in this encounter, Riku basically tells Sora how weak he is until his Keyblade decides to switch sides. What is this, a political debate? So now Riku has the Keyblade, but it's fine because Sora's friends will help him.
Goofy, let's go.
Fuck you, Duck! I never liked you anyways! Love you, Goofy. After getting betrayed by his friends, Sora is sad. He meets Beast, who is also sad, except that he's also mad. So Sora uses his anger to fight through Hollow Bastion, even though he doesn't have a weapon. Sora and Beast finally come across Riku once again, but this time, Sora gives an awesome speech about friendship and persuades Goofy to come back to his side, and in doing so, reclaims the Keyblade as well, allowing him to easily defeat Riku. Riku, upset that he lost, accepts help from the creepy pedophile from the cave from the beginning of the game, who tells Riku that he'll give him the power of darkness if he lets him inside his body. And you were questioning why I was calling him a pedophile, weren't you? Now, with the power of darkness, dude, Riku has his own Keyblade and can challenge Sora again. Meanwhile, Sora and Goofy defeat Maleficent, who thought she was the main villain this whole time, but was actually a pawn of the real villain, Ansem, aka creepy pedophile guy, aka guy who's inside of Riku. Sora confronts Riku again, who tells him that Kairi is the 7th Princess of Heart, but her heart is trapped inside of Sora's heart, which explains why she disappeared earlier in the game, I think. Evil Riku explains that his Keyblade has the power to unlock people's hearts, which is really convenient for the current situation, but I don't see the general practicality for this ability without Sora's special talent to hold 2 hearts somehow. Maybe it's explained in another game. But probably not, though. Anyways, Sora beats Riku's ass again and takes Ansem's Keyblade after Riku disappears to use on himself to give Kairi her heart back. However, as a side effect of this, Sora becomes a Heartless, but Kairi uses a super-powered hug to turn him back to normal. Before anyone asks, yes, I think this is really dumb because it's not explained how she actually managed to do that, but at this point, I could care less because Kingdom Hearts has clearly established that it has a high tolerance for bullshit. Sora chases Ansem to the end of the world to defeat him once and for all, and even though he gets his ass beat multiple times, Ansem is still able to open the door to Kingdom Hearts. But instead of being the source of all darkness, it turns out that Kingdom Hearts is actually a world of light that Ansem is killed by once he's exposed to it. Sora, Goofy, and Darkwing Duck jump into action to close the door to Kingdom Hearts, but they are unable to, until Riku and a shirtless King Mickey use his nipple powers to seal the door to Kingdom Hearts. The worlds that were destroyed by the Heartless begin to come back together, and everything goes back to normal. Or as normal as Kingdom Hearts will allow. That's the end. Jeez, it's been a while since I've done such a long story summary. I actually really like the story of Kingdom Hearts 1. It's not overly complicated, and some of the more ambiguous moments towards the end were foreshadowed well, so they don't come out of nowhere. I'll even say that some moments really pulled on my heartstrings in a way I wasn't expecting. Sora's speech about friendship, Riku's determination to keep control of his body long enough for his friends to escape Ansem, and that ending. Yeah, it might be cheesy, But dairy is an important part of a healthy diet, so give me some of that cheddar. That's awful. On the gameplay side, things are actually much more simple. Kingdom Hearts is a fairly standard action RPG. You can fight using melee attacks or magic, as well as defend using the Keyblade. One thing that's unique about Kingdom Hearts is that you get to choose how you want to learn your abilities. At the beginning of the game, you are offered 3 choices: a sword, shield, and a magic stick. Each is proficient in one stat and deficient in another. I chose the sword, so I would have a higher attack stat, but I'd also be worse at magic because I wanted to be as far away from being Donald Duck as possible. But this also affects which abilities you get at what time you get them. All abilities are unlocked no matter which you choose, it's just a matter of when you unlock them. I'm not sure which set is the best to use, but it doesn't really matter. I like that I was able to play the game how I wanted. A lot of the abilities you unlock are attributed to your combo, so the combat can be a bit weak if you're an attack specialist. Despite the simple nature of the combat, I still found it to be pretty satisfying. Crashing through hordes of enemies feels great, but like I said, it's very simple. Most enemies can be defeated by just mashing the X button. Now you can use magic to make the combat a bit more varied, but once again, you get into the flow of defeating enemies one after another in quick succession by mashing X, and it can be hard to get away from that. And since I wasn't a magic user anyways, I certainly didn't feel compelled to use it all that often, unless it was the Cure spell, which heals a good portion of your health when you use it. There's less of a need for magic because of your allies' support, at least in principle. Sora is accompanied by Goofy and Dolan throughout his adventure. Donald is a mage who can cast a lot of support magic, but lacks physical skill, and Goofy has a shield for defense and attack. These two should alleviate some of the pressure on our main man Sora here, but that's hardly ever the case. Goofy is okay for the most part as he actually damages enemies, but his lack of magic proficiency makes him less directly helpful to the player. The one who should be more helpful to the party is Donald, but he fucking sucks. If he has MP, he will spam his magic spells until he runs out. And if you give items to either one of them, then say goodbye as fast as you can, because those items are already gone. Donald is especially bad at conserving MP. His attacking spells aren't strong enough to be useful, and he doesn't know when he should support you. Donald, I could use a heal. Donald, heal me. You selfish piece of shit. I want to say my words finally got through to him because he saved my ass in the final boss fight. Here I am, final phase of the boss. I go into attack, I fuck up, I'm gonna die, and Donald finally, for the first time in my entire playthrough, saves my life with a healing spell that allowed me to beat the game. So I guess you're absolved of all your sins, duck. The other half of Kingdom Hearts is spent platforming. In fact, that's most of what you do when you aren't in combat. In the beginning of the game especially, the platforming can be a bit frustrating. Sora's jumping isn't all that great. He can get to where he needs to go well enough, but you have to be patient with him. You can't jump smoothly from area to area. Oftentimes you have to reposition after a jump to make the next platform, and getting impatient with it only results in falling down. Then again, it would probably help if Sora wasn't lugging around the equivalent of 2 50-pound cinder blocks as his feet. You'll eventually unlock a higher jump that controls better and a hover ability, but I don't like that I need to unlock better control. And when talking about the areas you'll be platforming in, there's a lot more I don't like. Kingdom Hearts is a game that's kinda all over the place. One minute you can be in an awesome boss fight with great atmosphere and music that really speaks to the gamer inside us all, and then the next minute you're slogging through a barren wasteland fighting waves of the same enemy over and over and over and over, and I've got a big problem with the level design in Kingdom Hearts. Almost every area in the game is based off of a Disney universe, which isn't an issue in itself. The real problem isn't the concepts, but the execution. How do you remember the worlds of Tarzan or Aladdin or Alice in Wonderland? These worlds were built with so much imagination, style, nuance, vibrance. Look at this scene from Aladdin. Agrabah has energy and liveliness stemming from every corner of its being. Where is that in Kingdom Hearts? Where are the markets surrounded by crowds of customers? Where are the camels carrying the wares of Arabian merchants? Why is there nobody here? Listen, I understand that the Heartless are here and that they're scary or whatever, but an overpopulated capital city wouldn't be abandoned like this. Give me someone to talk to, something to interact with. Throw a merchant in the corner selling potions. Give me a lady whose bag was stolen by thieves as a small side quest. Give me anything to do besides fighting endless enemies. Side quests. Everybody say it with me now. Side quests. There are side quests in this game, but all of them are overarching quests where you collect items in each world. Simply adding some world-specific side quests could have made a huge impact on the feel of the world at the very least. If you're going to use Disney properties in your game, why would you put so little effort into making these worlds feel real? Oddly enough, the Disney World that feels the most alive is Halloween Town, probably the one that's supposed to feel more somber. I'll even go out on a limb and say that Disney properties weren't even needed in Kingdom Hearts. The original stuff, to me, is much better and doesn't really have that much to do with the Disney characters. There wouldn't be much of a loss if you didn't have them. Other than in the sales department, of course. Even the best level in the game, Hollow Bastion, is the only level not based on a Disney World. It has cool encounters, a multitude of different puzzles which were sorely lacking from the rest of the game, and the atmosphere is incredible and just made me wish that more of this game was original. And then there's the Gummy Ship. This is how you go from world to world. To put it simply, the Gummy Ship segments are like Star Fox, but really boring. At least the music's good. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have the boss fights of Kingdom Hearts. Encounters that are so incredible that you'll wish the entire game was these fights. I'm dead serious. Some of these fights left me speechless, and it's not so much that the fights themselves are that crazy, but rather that these fights are cinematic and have an epic feel to them. Take the giant Heartless from the very beginning of the game. Sora has just received his power from some cryptic deity that's subtly alluding to the power of darkness. All of a sudden, Sora's shadow expands and turns into a massive beast that symbolizes the darkness in everyone's hearts. But it is clear that the darkness can be overcome and harnessed as a power that can be used for good, as is shown by Sora defeating it. That's fucking awesome, and it's how a lot of these boss encounters go. And that's not to say that these fights aren't fun from a gameplay perspective, because they absolutely are. A lot of these bosses are purely based on how efficient you are at defeating them. There's not a whole lot of downtime in these fights. I don't have to wait for the weak spot to show. I don't have to wait to counterattack. It's just, here it is, go get 'em. I also want to quickly mention that the soundtrack of Kingdom Hearts is absolutely phenomenal. Everybody pretty much already knows that already, but seriously, do yourself a favor and take a listen. It's up there with Wind Waker and Sonic 06 as one of my favorite OSTs of all time. Kingdom Hearts is such a frustrating experience. You have such potential that I feel wasn't entirely realized in this game. There will be times when you may want to stop playing because of boring environments, a lack of interesting side quests, or even a problem with the camera and controls. But if you push through that, you'll find moments that will make your mind explode, boss fights that will leave you at a loss for words, and a story that had a lot of heart put into it. Is this game perfect? Absolutely not. But trust me, the low points are worth the struggle to see the highs Kingdom Hearts can reach.